This is League of Legends. If you played a game like this, then you're not unlike 80 million players from all across the globe. On top of that, if you've ever played League of Legends, then you've found yourself in situations like these. My team is so dumb. I get 4 people on me and nobody does anything. Every game I get an AFK or a troll. It's impossible to climb. Man, if I had a decent teammate, I'd be diamond right about now. Well, these are just a few of the common things a League of Legends player might say to justify their loss. On the flip side of this, when you crush your enemies, you often get that kid on the other team saying that you got carried and you would lose a 1v1. But wait, you say, isn't this channel about fighting games and not about League of Legends? Well, let's take a look at these scenarios again. The one thing they all have in common is that they are a result of losing a competitive game. Another thing they have in common is that they are shifting the blame on external sources rather than looking into their own mistakes. If you're a clever cookie, you would have already noticed what I'm getting at here. I'm of course talking about the community overlap. Let's take a look at what League of Legends really has to offer. It basically has a singular game mode designed with the single purpose of pitting 2 teams of 5 up against each other. Other than that, it has nothing. There's no story mode, no time attack, no survival. It has ARAM, I guess, but let's be honest. If you play League of Legends, chances are you're not in it for the ARAM, you're in it for the standard 5v5 game of high skill and low luck, not some random one-lane minimal strategy deathmatch. So, now that we know what League really offers, we can start to define what kind of player it will attract. A League of Legends player is at their core a competitive player. Some display this better than others, but the whole point of the game is to beat other players. Now let's look at fighting games quickly. Yep, you guessed it, they both attract the same type of player. So why is it that League of Legends attracts 80 million people when fighting games at most attract about 5? And I'm being generous here. I mean, let's look at Mortal Kombat 11 for an example. Mortal Kombat games tend to have the biggest communities in the genre because of all of the casual appeal that the games bring to the table. Many people that aren't interested in fighting games will still want to try the new MK game because, well, it's iconic. While Street Fighter is more iconic to the FGC, Mortal Kombat bar none has the most widespread fighting game influence outside of the FGC. Even being generous and multiplying the number of copies sold by, I don't know, maybe a tenfold, it would only roughly equate to about 50 million. Even then, it doesn't really come close to taking over League of Legends. Now this video isn't meant to go over why each game gets the numbers it does, but it's rather meant to raise a simple question and provide an even simpler answer. You see, when I was younger, I used to play a lot of League. Nowadays, I barely play it and I don't really miss it. But, as someone with strong ties to the League of Legends player base, I can tell you for sure that there is a pretty big overlap between these communities. Think about it. A chance to play a high-skill, high-execution game with no teammates to ruin your day. It's just you and your punching bag, all alone in a fictional ring. The communities already overlap if you think about it. Dyrus, a former professional League of Legends player, has already shown his love for Tekken. On top of that, the former League of Legends superstar video game Donkey likes to play Smash Bros, Tekken, and even Mortal Kombat. Actually, come to think of it, so does the man that used to be in half of his videos. I'm of course talking about the now somewhat infamous Skyve Williams, who played and did shoutcasting for Super Smash Bros. Need more examples? How about LoLhounds? A channel with League of Legends literally in its name posts Mortal Kombat 11 videos on its secondary channel LoLhounds 2.0. Not only that, but a ton of the FGC also dabbles in League of Legends for the same reasons. I won't go into more examples as it would take forever, but clearly these two seemingly very different games are rather similar when stripped down to the basics. The thing that drives the League player is often the exact same thing that drives the fighting game player. So that finally leads me into the title of this video. you may have thought that I forgot about the one simple question I mentioned earlier. Now this video isn't meant to go over why each game gets the numbers it does, but it's rather meant to raise a simple question and provide an even simpler answer. But, you're wrong. The question is, why do so many people think fighting games just wouldn't click with them? While it's true, not every League player will enjoy fighting games, but I'm absolutely positive many that think they wouldn't actually low-key would. I think a lot of people just don't want to go through the trouble of learning a brand new game, and I get that. But if you're feeling like League of Legends simply isn't cutting the butter anymore, you might just want to look up fighting games as an alternative. Riot is already fully aware of this. Back in March of 2016, Riot actually bought off Radiant Entertainment. In case you're not in the loop, I don't blame you. Not many people would know, but these were the guys that came up with the unique cooldown based game Rising Thunder. I honestly have enough trivia on this event and even Radiant Entertainment as a whole. I could make a whole video about it if I'd like, but let's stay on topic for now. Rising Thunder is the game that would eventually become the skeleton for what would be announced as Project L. Project L obviously being the League of Legends fighting game currently developed by Riot Games. So, in all honesty, pretty soon, I think Riot itself will capitalize on the hidden mass appeal of fighting games. If Riot gets the formula right, this might just be the game that puts fighting games on the map as a mainstream genre. I think a lot of League fans will try the game and most likely fall in love with it. Of course, I could be wrong, but who knows? Fingers crossed. Now, before my final closing thoughts, I want to mention one other big esports game as an example of this. I'm picking Rainbow Six Siege because this video is my rare chance to talk about this in the context of fighting games. Alright, shut up. I love the game and I will stretch the subject matter if I need to. But honestly, am I really stretching it? Okay, maybe the overlap is smaller than with League, but in essence, Rainbow Six and all of esports games are driven by the same motivation. I personally love to play Rainbow Six on the side when I'm not busy playing fighting games. And more so than other shooters, I think it overlaps with what I've grown to love about fighting games. It's a blend of strategy, quick thinking, creative solutions, team composition and matchups, and of course, mechanical skill. The freedom Siege offers makes it far more than just a shooter. It struck a chord with me, and I honestly don't think I'm alone in this. Recently, Rainbow Six was accepted as a Tier 1 esport, but since the announcement, the reputation of the game has rapidly went down the drain. Currently, the servers are experiencing what looks like DDoS attacks, and cheaters are once again running rampant in lobbies. The toxicity is through the roof, and whole teams of professional esports players got the boot because of a clunky and mostly unnecessary change to how the Pro League functions. Many players are saying the game is arguably in the best state it's ever been, but with all the things I mentioned above, it's making the experience a lot more stress than joy when playing. If you're a Siege player that needs a break from the game until the next Operation Health comes along, perhaps you would be interested in taking up fighting games. Again, I'm not saying people should drop their games and play fighting games, but if you play your games for the reasons I mentioned earlier, then it stands to reason you might enjoy fighting games as well. After everything is said and done, I honestly think a lot of people are put off fighting games simply because they don't know where to start. Explore a little. Go watch some high-level play and see if you like what the games look like when played properly. And even if you don't ever reach that level, you can still have a bit of fun with your friends and take it one step at a time. No matter how competitive these games get, and what anybody says, there is no law that requires you to be amazing or even good at the game to have fun. Honestly, you can pick up a game and be decent at it within a day if you know where to start. Alright, I won't drag this any further. Let me know if this video makes you want to try fighting games, and if I should make a follow-up explaining my process learning new games and what you should focus on as a beginner. In the meantime though, I'd like to recommend watching Sajam. I hope I'm not butchering his name. I'll leave his channel in the description below. He often tries new games and provides great insight into how to approach them as beginners. Lastly, one big tip I can give you is that just do what you love about the games. If you just want to sit in training room doing sick combos, then do that for a while. If you want to jump straight into online and don't mind losing a lot, then do that as well. Do the thing you find exciting about the game, not the thing that people tell you you should. With that said, my name is definitely not Alex, and I'll see you again in the next video. Toodaloo.